Hello, everybody, and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael, and I'm really excited because today, for the first time, I've got Corvus joining the channel to bring his coaster expertise over from Xbox. So, Corvus, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
Doing good. And so, in today's video, we're actually looking at three separate Boomerang coasters that were created by Astro_King 808. And as you can see with this first one, this is a very modern take on what I believe would be an Intamin Boomerang. So, what are your kind of initial thoughts on what you're seeing here?
Never seen anything like it before. Really like the look of it.
Yeah, and I like how I guess you would call them what's the technical term for them? Like when you had, like gosh, what's the Intamin that's now not at Cedar Point anymore? The ends, whatever the two ends are on the, on the both ends of like the spires, whatever they are. That's pretty cool how he's got them twisted and turned. It's just something very unique.
I think the thrilling ones are called the Intamin Impulse coasters. I don't know what the
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember what it's called where it goes straight up on either side for some reason. But as you can see, like these are not just the creation about the coaster; it's also a very detailed queue. You've got lighting and obviously a detailed station. So what are you noticing that you like about this creation so far?
The custom fencing's great around the side. I really like the whole color scheme in the area as well. It's really
Yeah,
bright.
yeah, that orange is nice. Then I like to just using looks like maybe some kind of screen pieces or something for flooring. And then you've also got the dots on the floor there. And so these are always really cool when you can kind of see the coaster just fly through the station.
I like the lockers on the side there as well.
Yeah, that is just so unique in that kind of twisted turn up the vertical spike. Oh, vertical spike. I think that's what it's called. Now I remember. But yeah, this is a really cool creation. And then I like how you've got there's some glass ceiling as well. And so if you're waiting in the queue right there, you can kind of look up and see the coaster going up one of the two spikes. And so this here, he actually custom did the look of the LSM launch or whatever that would be, because it doesn't obviously doesn't have it in the game. So that's something you don't normally see. We're about to take a ride on the coaster, but are there any other thoughts before we actually ride the POV?
Excited to go on it. It looks really great from off ride.
Yeah, and I zoomed out here because I wanted to show that he used those I think those would be LSM launches all the way to the end, so kind of creating that realism aspect of it. And if we look at the stats real quick, G-forces look pretty good for airtime hills. And let's go ahead and take a ride on the coaster. Right, Corvus. So what are your thoughts on that unique Boomerang?
I really liked it. It's really refreshing to see a like an impulse coaster that doesn't just have like the spike either side of the station to have like the layout a lot longer and more complex. I really liked it.
Yeah, and it makes sense what he said, a more modern take on it, just because it's something that it kind of reminds me in a way of how now we're starting to see the newer Vacomas kind of have this different shaping to their track, right? To some of their inversions.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of taking the modern take on it, like, okay, we've done this for a while, but now let's try something a little bit different. And yeah, I mean, it goes around twice, which is great. So I really, hanging light or floating light. I really like that. I mean, that's something that could easily fit in a park. And you can see how he's put fencing and stuff all around it.
It feels like a actual manufacturer-made model, which is like a really good compliment because it looks like the actual like Intamin have designed that themselves. It's really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And then here's another one. Now this one's called a family boomerang, and so you can still see the same kind of general style where he's still building everything around it, right? But it's got pathway all around and unique shaping as well. And I believe this one would be, I think this one would be Vacoma. Yeah, you can see kind of the rounded
Yeah, I think so.
tubular part of the support. But now this one looks very different. So what are your initial thoughts now with just kind of the initial part of what we saw here?
I like the whole like the vibe of the area with the color scheme. Like you'd think the green would kind of get lost in the background of all the trees, but I almost like that how it looks like part of the ride's hidden.
Hmm.
It blends in really well.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't even notice this when I was pre-recording. I just noticed it now. He did an amazing job of blending in rocks with the rock terrain texture. Um, so it kind of looks the same, and then you've got that vertical spike right there, which is really nice. And that's one thing he does with all his creations is he uses the X sector um, kind of theming idea. So it's pretty cool to see how he carries over his general style with every different creation that he does or makes.
I like how the that vertical spike there's kind of made like a feature of the plaza as you come onto the ride.
Yeah, something for you to see for sure. So we'll do a quick chat after the coaster. All right, Corvus. So we just got off the family boomerang. What are your thoughts?
I really like that. The layout's great, like speeding in and out all the trees and dips and that like a concrete trench there. It's really nice. It interacts with the pathway really well as well. Plenty of spots where you could be taking your camera out to get some good shots of the coaster.
Yeah, definitely. And I love the initial part, and then this part here where it kind of slows down and stops, and then it reverses again further up the vertical spike. And so that's just a really kind of I feel like that's something that if you're the guest and or you're a kid or somebody and you haven't seen that before, that might cause a little adrenaline rush right there, not really realizing what's going on. But it's a really well done. It definitely takes a good slower speed for the families and stuff. So I agree with you.
Imagine that being in an actual park and getting some great views from the top of them spikes across the whole park.
Absolutely. And now we are at maybe the most unique of any of them, and this is a mine train boomerang. Not just any mine train boomerang, the Seven Dwarfs mine train type, whatever those cars do. So it's very unique, unrealistic, but also very cool at the same time.
Never seen anything like that before. I really like it.
Yeah, it is really cool, and he's got it on test mode. And so how you know this actually would be able to run is it does 2 laps. Um, and he created these custom little stairs, which those would be quite terrifying to climb up if you're a maintenance worker, to say the least.
I really like all the smoke effects down in the like the concrete trench down there as well.
hmm I agree. And then one thing too that I think is really good with all these that we've looked at is the you mentioned on the last one, but the interaction with the queue pathing or with the queue path and the ride is just always so good. It's so well
Oh yeah,
done.
especially over that bridge there.
hmm And you know what? I should have turned to look at the track, but I was not thinking properly when I pre-recorded this. And then I love these little queue coverings that he made, which is just basically the mouse hunt um, horizontal and vertical beams, then with the colorable screens, or I think it's the colorable lit panels. So just something that's really easy to make, but yet looks really good for queue covering. And once again, another good station.
Skylight as well, like the last one, all the supporting all over the roof. It looks really realistic, and I like the look of it.
Yeah, totally agree. And once again, you got that kind of little glass in the top of the roof to kind of give you a different perspective, different view. And this is, I mean, look at that view right there. That's pretty cool.
It's great.
Yeah. And I believe we're about to take a POV ride. Now, I do believe that cabin, we'll talk after the POV of the coaster. All right, Corvus, that was a short ride, but what are your thoughts on it?
I think if you enjoy airtime, that might quickly become your favorite coaster.
It's definitely got a lot of it for how short of a ride that is. And then you look here at the transfer track, and so well done. Just looks phenomenal. You got the air ducts on the roof. You've even got the coaster supports on the other side that he used as like piping. You got the Spook Central air vent. So well done, so realistic. You know, I think for both of us, this kind of speaks to our heart right now. So,
Yeah, I love it when people put the effort in to do realism in their parks and their rides. It adds a lot of extra detail.
and I just learned about this recently. Is using a video panel for the roof, but then turning it to the shutters, and it makes it look like a corrugated roof. Because let's be real,
I only found out about that last week as well.
yeah, the corrugated roofs in the
Really good
game,
way of doing it.
yeah, they don't look that great. So doing it that way is really adds to it. And we're about to be done with this video. So Corvus, I want to thank you for joining me. Any final thoughts as we got about 15 seconds?
Thank you for having me. Great selection of coasters you've chosen. I love all the realism.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, and hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Talk to y'all later.